What is up, everybody? Welcome to Late Night Gamers Podcast, episode number 121. I'm Nick Perzanowski, and with me this week and every week is Steve Morgan.
I wasn't ready for you to start with me, but hey, how's it going?
I couldn't stop laughing because Charles Caldwell also here sneezed to himself.
I literally was like about to explode with the sneeze, and I was like, "Ah, shit! I can't do this right now."
Tim will be joining us partway through the podcast, and we have a special guest this week. You've seen him on the website, lngamers.com. Tori Dykey, also on Twitter all the time. So,
I'm special.
Welcome everybody. This is our E3 special, talking about everything that's been going on this past weekend: conferences, announcements, new games, new DLC, all that other garbage that we like to talk about. So, since we have, I feel like, a lot of things to talk about, I'm going to get started. Well, Tori, where do you want to get started since you're the guest today?
I guess we can go start with just EA. Just go down the list. Other than the two that we wanted to skip for Tim.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, you want me to talk? I was not ready for this.
Putting you on the spot.
All right.
So what were the big things that came out of EA's conference this year? I was unable to watch it, so I'm not the best person, but I can probably comment on some things.
Well, they announced Titanfall 2 officially, even though for the past week they've pretty much been hinting at it and just directly talking about it and everything. So they showed a single-player trailer which actually leaked before EA actually started.
Lame.
They showed it. It looks pretty good. It has me a little interested since it's an actual campaign, not just a campaign involved with the multiplayer.
Yeah, because the original game was multiplayer only, right?
Yeah,
Correct. Yeah.
the levels
Lacking.
the levels had some sort of story to them, and you had to beat them all to get some achievement, but it was really not a campaign at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they showed a multiplayer trailer also. A few added abilities. I think there's like an ability where you can tether, basically shoot out like a hook shot, I guess is the best name for it.
Oh, sweet.
And attach it to either another Titan or like if you eject out of your Titan and say another pilot ejects out of the Titan, an enemy one, you can grab him in midair, pull him to you, and kill him.
Dang.
Awesome. That's sweet. That seems to be that seems to be something that happens more often now. We saw it in Just Cause 3, with the grapple and everything, but also Dishonored in there. Dishonored 2. I won't get into it, but they also had a similar kind of thing, which is I like that idea.
Yeah, and Syndicate last year with Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah, that's right. So what else did EA have for us?
They did their EA Sports stuff. Madden 17 announced some new features for that. I kind of zoned out during that part, so I can't really tell you exactly what they announced.
Well, whatever Madden 16 was, just
17.
add one, and it's the same.
Yep. They did a bunch of FIFA stuff as well, but again, they kept going back to it. They would go to one thing, they'd go back to it. They're really trying to push their esports with it. I think they're really starting to start up something with that. So,
That's cool.
but the next thing really of note would be, I guess, Mass Effect Andromeda, which I was really looking forward to. I was expecting them to just go all out with gameplay and everything, and then they give us a dev diary, which had some gameplay in it, but obviously not what I was really looking for. Game looks beautiful from what I saw. We're still excited for it, but
Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why they chose a dev diary, because that's not really what people go to E3 for.
Mhm.
That's like additional
yeah.
content that they want to watch afterward or something. But
Yeah, I started watching the video, and then I was like, this doesn't look like a game. And it was like the galaxy and stars. I'm just kind of like, what the hell? And then it finally got to the gameplay, and I was like, okay. But it was weird.
I was kind of disappointed that the if you've played the first 3 Mass Effect games, your choices aren't going to have any effect on Mass Effect Andromeda.
Did they say that?
I thought I heard that somewhere. I can't remember where I read it, but I just remember being like, oh, really?
Well, I know it kind of takes place not. Well, from what I understood, it actually takes place years after Mass Effect 3, but at the same time, I've heard conflicting stories that it takes place like at the same time, or I don't know.
Well, it seems to indicate afterwards because it's talking about a whole new galaxy.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand if it's a completely different like storyline and timeline and everything, but I feel like it would be cool to at least, even if it was like some sub story or something, to bring in all the choices that you made in the previous games into the newest game, just because
I'm pretty sure it's going to wind up being the origin story for StarCraft.
For StarCraft.
It's like they had to flee the galaxy because of this thing. You never really find out why. And then there's going to be Terrans, and then there's going to be Zerg, and then there's going to be Protoss.
I don't know about that one, Charles.
Charles, you should have a YouTube conspiracy theory channel where you just talk about all these things.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the new craze, man.
It's true. Conspiracy theories. Charles,
Can I tell you what showed up on my list that I was suddenly like, holy shit,
no.
there's actually something added at E3? Prey.
I don't know who.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Where? Yeah. What conference was that at? Was that at?
That was Bethesda.
That was Bethesda. Okay. Well, we can go out of order. It doesn't really matter. I know. I saw that stuff happened, and I was like, oh my god, Charles is gonna shit his pants. It's not an actual sequel. I think it's a
reboot.
Yeah.
It's a reboot, but it's
Not a remaster.
That's
Right.
I need to watch the trailer though. I haven't actually watched it. I just saw that it was on my list, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it looks pretty crazy. That's something that Charles has been talking about for a long time. So
It's almost like I'm glad that they kind of scrapped it and then brought in new developers though, because to be honest, it was like, what the hell's happening?
I just need to take a drive up to Austin and see if I can break into Arcane Studios and look at it.
All right, if you do that, you can leak all of the photos on lmgamers.com.
Serious rap. Yeah, it's kind of cool that they're rebooting it though, because the story was like really good. So I feel like it doesn't matter if it's not a remaster, like they're not just like making the graphics later and they're gonna like redo the same story. I'm cool with that. So, because I thought the story was really good when I played it. I remember being like really like this was awesome. So.
What's funny is that
Never
it made very high in the buzz list in terms of the games. Like, probably because everyone's like, what? They've already told us about this several times.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry. It'll be delayed until 2020.
Yeah.
No. And then canceled.
No, hopefully not.
No, hopefully not.
We say no, hopefully not for a lot of it. I feel like there's a lot of things on here that were that way, but.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else from the EA conference that you thought
Battlefield one?
Battlefield 1, yeah.
Battlefield
that showed up. That showed up a couple times, right?
Right.
Across a few. But, I'm intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by Battlefield 1. I feel like it could be really cool.
Agreed. I mean, we've had years and years and years of basically just modern or futuristic shooters.
Mhm.
I was kind of itching for either World War II or World War One, and looks like from what it looks like, they've done a good job with World War One, and I'm looking forward to it.
They should just do Battlefield Civil War.
There's a friend of mine that keeps
Slowest
asking
gameplay
about.
ever.
Yeah, there's a friend of mine that keeps asking about that. He keeps wanting, oh, they should do Civil War. It's like that would be horrendously slow.
It'd be like mostly melee, just everybody like going and stabbing people.
Yeah, that'd
Pretty
be a lot
much,
of
yeah.
death. There'd just be bodies piled up. That'd be the entire thing.
No,
yeah.
the Battlefield
Good.
1 does look really, really good though. I feel like it's just a different time period that we haven't explored yet in terms of any of the warfare games. So I think it'll be interesting. I think it's the change that we all need, and none of this future bullshit anymore.
Right.
It's true.
That was pretty much
That's-
it for EA.
Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like overall, I think a few of the conferences were a little bit of a disappointment in general.
I agree.
And I think we'll work our way up to some of the better ones. Why don't we talk about Ubisoft next, or Ubisoft, however you say it?
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft. Okay.
Yeah, I'll let you lead it.
All right. I can talk a little bit about stuff. If I miss something, let me know. Tori, I know you were disappointed by the release date that was announced for Honor, which is that looks like it looks like a mostly melee oriented multiplayer game where you get to play as like a Viking,
Samurai or a knight.
a knight. That was the third one. And the game looks awesome. If they can actually execute it well enough, then I think it could be really entertaining. And that the release date on that is February 14th, 2017. So that's like 8 months out. That's I know
Yeah.
you wanted it sooner, Tori.
Well, yeah, I was expecting it to be a fall release, but I'm still excited for it. It just sucks that like everything that I'm interested in now has literally been put into February, March, or April of next year. So, but now For Honor, it looks like I've seen a lot of people kind of compare it to like Dynasty Warriors or something like that, but
Nice.
which it sort of is, I guess. And if you want to compare it to any other type of game, I would say Dynasty Warriors. But For Honor looks to be more tactical, where you got to really know what you're blocking, and otherwise you're not going to be able to do anything. And the numbers of enemies aren't quite as high as Dynasty Warriors.
So it's just a wave of elephants.
I don't
No,
even think
there's
there's
a-
any elephants. No.
Probably not. There's I think that, I don't know, have they said how many like actual player on players it's going to be? Is it 6-on-6 or 4-on-4?
I don't know if I should say, because I have gotten to close beta test this. So I kind of know, but I don't know if I want to say or not.
Okay.
But I'll say you're in the ballpark. I'll just say that.
Okay.
It hasn't been made public elsewhere where you've looked.
Not that I've seen, no.
So it is going to be probably more small scale, like in terms of team
In terms
based
of players, yes.
Okay. But there are going to be a lot of NPCs in the game,
Right.
that are just fighting around you and are not
Yeah,
as.
They're mostly just cannon fodder, for the lack of a better term.
Oh, do they
You're
just
just gonna-
fight each? Mostly.
You just breathe on them basically, and they'll die.
Oh,
It's the other knights and samurai and Vikings that you're really concerned about.
all right. Well, cool. Unfortunately, we do have to wait for the full game until February, but hopefully more information comes out, and hopefully you can talk about it soon.
Yeah.
Some other, another I think kind of big announcement was the new South Park game. It's a sequel to The Stick of Truth, and this one's called South Park Fractured Butthole, or Fractured Butthole, depending on how you want to put
The
the emphasis on
fractured
it.
butthole.
Yes. So the trailer for that, they did a play on The Division, which was kind of funny. And everything's just like falling apart and shit's going bad, and I never played the first one. Steve, I know you played the first one. And you said it was good.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm excited. I saw that. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. I mean, they didn't really show any like footage of the game. It was all just sort of like clips, at least what I saw. But it was a good game. I mean, basically, it's like watching a South Park episode. So if you like South Park, then you like it. If you don't like South Park, then you probably don't like it. It's pretty much that simple. The gameplay is like good, but it's not like a stellar. I wouldn't say it's groundbreaking or anything unique. It just is. So if you like South Park, it's pretty exciting. It's like clear there's new characters, and the newest episodes have been pretty funny. So I was like, awesome. Looks like it's gonna be really cool. I'm sure it's gonna be hilarious.
What did you think, Tori? What did you think,
Looks like
Tori?
you get to play as
Oh.
the coon.
Yes.
I never got to. I owned the Stick of Truth on PlayStation 3, but I never got around to playing it.
Yeah.
I was interested in it. I looked at it a lot, but I just never got around to playing it. And I've always heard good things about it. Something to mention also about it is if you do pre-order or pre-order/buy the South Park, the new South Park, you'll get the remastered version on Xbox One and PS4, assuming you buy it on console.
Of the older one?
And I think you can play it now, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's pretty fantastic. So it's not like you get the new game and all you want to do is play the new game and then no, I think that's great. That's great marketing for them. I may actually pre-order it for that reason, just to play the original one because I did hear good things about it. So.
I still have a code of that. I still have a code to give away for the original one, but we still haven't given it away on this. So maybe one day.
All right. Well, maybe this Friday. Maybe this Friday, especially since they just announced a new one. So people will be excited about it.
Sort of
somewhat.
relevant.
Yep. There was some Watch Dogs 2 stuff that they officially announced it. It's or officially announced the release date, even though it had leaked. It's coming out in November, right?
Yeah, November 15th.
Okay, that's what I thought. It's the same day the PS4 released, however many years ago. From everything I've seen about it, in trailers and clips and stuff, I think the game looks the story looks a lot more interesting to me than the first one, and I'm hoping that they. I don't know. I feel like it needed to be a little bit more focused for my taste in the first one. But what was your take? Anybody?
I saw the trailer before. I thought it was really good. I mean, I played the first one a bunch. I don't know about you guys. I played it probably like 6 or 7 hours, but then I just got bored. So, like, the concept of the game seems awesome, but that's how I felt about the first one. So I'm like, it looks cool, but it's like I feel like I could just be like, play it again and get bored really fast. So I don't know. Oh, you're gonna say something, Tori? I don't know.
Well, I was just gonna say. I mean, it looks like they might have learned from the faults of the first one a little bit, but at the same time, it really doesn't pull me in interest-wise. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll buy it when it goes on sale for $30 or something. But for now, I'm not interested.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the characters in the game, it takes place in San Francisco, and every single character looks like a hipster, and I don't know how I feel about that.
So you really want to just kill off everyone.
Yeah, it literally is very hipsterish and social justice and all that.
Yep. Here's some spray paint.
Mhm.
It's that whole spray paint thing reminded me of Infamous Second Son, where you had to go around and spray paint all the walls. That was. I like that game, but I didn't like his character.
Yeah.
Something else that came from we got another trailer for Tom Clancy's what is it? Wildlands? Is that a Tom Clancy game?
Yes.
It is. Okay, just making sure. I got one of those. Yeah. Okay. So another trailer came out talking about cartels, and it was more of a cinematic trailer, but and they did release some additional gameplay, but I'm actually excited about this game. I don't think other people, some other people aren't as interested, but I mean, seeing guys jump in, like it's a whole open world. It's enormous. You can drive in. You can take whatever weapons you want into these missions. You can, parachute from an airplane. You can do there's just all kinds of shit. You can set up a sniper. You can be groups of 4, set up a sniper. Somebody go it's just I like the idea that you can complete the missions basically any way that you want to. And I do like that it takes place in Bolivia, and it's all about drug cartels. And I feel like it's really relevant with everything that's going on in that area now. So it seems kind of cool. Anybody else?
Well, I mean, it looks cool and all that. I mean, I don't want to jump into another game that seems to really focus on you need at least 3 or 4 other players that you play with. It looks like another Division, basically.
What are you talking about? The Division was fantastic for all time.
The Division was fantastic until they started patching it.
Shit. It was, yeah. That's I can understand that. I think I don't know.
Well, if you got people to play with, if you got people to
Yeah.
play with, it'll be great.
Yeah. So, well, we all have PS4s. We should all get it.
That's what we said about Division.
Yeah, it's just a dangerous model for a game to be like that, because it's not always like that. That's why, games like World of Warcraft did a really good job of balancing out, having something to do when you don't have people, having so much to do when you have people, having, it's just it's really, really hard to have a multiplayer game that has that component, because that component is really awesome. When you have your friends, you're like, this is cool, I can do these things I can't do. But you also need to have something you can do when you don't have your friends. So it's Division was one of them. That's the problem I have with Left 4 Dead or Evolve and all these games. Just hard to play those games by yourself. Just pretty much non-existent. So we'll see. I don't know. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Ubisoft in general has kind of with these multiplayer games. I don't know. They haven't completely wowed me yet. So I am really excited for the game, for the concept of the game, but the whole matchmaking aspect of it, I'm not really sure of.
Right. And I have
Was there anything else from?
Well, I was to say,
You have
I have a
what?
bad history of matchmaking from my World of Warcraft days and stuff, and doing LFG for that. That was,
Yep.
some bad raids there.
Yep. It's never fun. There's really not many games you can play besides first-person shooters or something when you're playing, or MOBAs where you're just playing for fun. even that too, it's like, ugh, just get with people. It's just hard to have a combination of teamwork in a game and also not have teamwork in a game. They're like counterproductive.
Right.
So it's tough. It's just they have to do their good job of balancing. I think like Division was just tough to play by yourself. Really, it was really tough as opposed to like League of Legends or some game where you obviously having 5 of your friends play makes a big difference, but you can play it by yourself. It's just not as fun. Like Division was really tough.
Impossible.
Couldn't basically do a lot of stuff
Yeah.
by yourself, and so just have to think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can just random with people, but then you just have a guy who just runs and dies every time, and it's like, okay, well,
Well, yeah, especially as you get like further on, like some of the earlier missions, like you can do those just fine
Yeah.
by yourself. And I know it does like level depending on how many people you have, and if you're by yourself, it's going to be a little, there's going to be less people and stuff. But some of it was just like, especially the like the challenging missions or any of those things. It's just I spent multiple hours on one mission just because people kept dropping out, because like one guy would go in and like they'd die and I'd be the last guy alive, and it's like, well, come on guys. And then they drop out, and then new people I'd wait at like a minute or two, new people would come in, and then they'd come in like at the beginning of the level and have to play through the entire level to get to where I was. It just doesn't work
yeah. So
well. Was there anything else from the Ubisoft conference that you thought was worth mentioning, Tori?
Not really. I mean, they announced that new IP right at the end called Steep, which is like another open world on kind of online MMO stylish game, but it's a sports game that's basically like snowboarding, skiing, parasailing, or paragliding rather, and whatever the other one is where you wear the suit to
Wingsuit?
yeah, the wingsuit. Yeah, there you go. And I mean, it looks interesting. I signed up for the beta, but a lot of people were giving it hate online of which it's the internet, so what do you expect? But I mean,
Yeah.
I think for the proper crowd, it has potential.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's online, so
Yeah. My concern is that, there's only so much mountain before you get to the bottom.
mhm.
I don't know how much. I mean, I don't know how much content you can really have for that
yeah.
with a multiplayer type game. I mean,
Right.
but who knows? We'll see. They should integrate GoPro cams so that every person has a GoPro cam, even though it's a video.
Well, I
You can
was
video yourself while you play the video game.
Yeah.
saying while they were showing it, I was like, this game would be perfect as a VR game.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
And it wasn't, at least not yet. They haven't said it yet. They might eventually announce it, but
That'd be
the
cool.
way they were showing it, it was first person while they were doing flips off the edges of the mountain and stuff. I was like, this is like screaming VR,
Yeah.
potential.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, can you imagine doing a backflip? How like dizzying that would be?
How would you even do
'Cause
that?
you're not
You just
actually-
jerk your head back, and all of a sudden your body's like, woo!
You're not moving, but everything in your eyes. Like, I just feel like that would fuck with your mind so bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's been a lot of. We'll get into a lot more VR when we talk about Sony, but let's start with Microsoft and talk about. Tori, do you want to say what the biggest announcement for Microsoft was?
Oh, Project Scorpio, a new console.
Yeah, that's definitely one of them. So they showed Scorpio. They gave us some details on it. It's going to run at 60 hertz and have 6 teraflops of computing capability, which is ridiculous.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, everybody that keeps touting that 6 teraflops doesn't know what it means. Even I don't know what it means. But
It just sounds good.
it sounds good,
Teraflops?
yes. Yeah. I think the current, I don't even know what the current like PS4 and Xbox One, I don't know the exact teraflops that they do, but I think it's only like 3 or 4 at the most. I don't even think it's 4. Might only be 3.
What if they were like 5.5 and they were touting it as 6 teraflops? It's just they never said teraflops.
Literally wouldn't be able to. Yeah, no one would know. I wouldn't have no clue. Just be like, sure, sounds good.
The main thing they're doing it for basically is to try and do the 4K native, I'm assuming native, gaming. So it's basically for the top people that really care about that resolution and all that. But I don't know. I feel while it doesn't come out until holiday 2017, I still think it's going to be a little more expensive than what people are thinking, and it's going to be another PlayStation 3 situation. I mean, I could be completely wrong. Technology seems to go down in price relatively quickly sometimes nowadays. So,
Yeah.
but then we could all have 4K TVs for $200.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
That's very true, but I still feel like at launch it's going to be at least 1.5 times the price of what the original Xbox One cost.
I was thinking,
So-
yeah, it's at least 6, maybe 700.
Yeah, that's the range that I was thinking for price. It just with everything with all the stuff that it's going to be able to do, I just feel like it's going to be it's like getting a high-end PC, but
Right.
but scaling down to console.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft also talked about this Xbox Play Anywhere sort of thing, which they say that you'll be able to buy a game only once and be able to play it on Windows 10 and Xbox One. So I think, Tori, you were saying there's basically no reason for you to get an Xbox One at this point now.
Oh yeah, like for me, I mean, I have my PC that can run, basically everything that the Xbox or PS4 has, but better. And I was interested in getting that Xbox, but now it's like all I got to do is go buy a Xbox One controller, and I can play all the Xbox games. It's like pretty much from here on out, all their exclusive games are coming out on PC, and they're cross-buy. Cross-buy and cross-play, so you'll be playing with people on Xbox Live as well.
So you don't have to. You don't even have to own an Xbox to like install it or dang.
Nope. Just have to have Windows 10.
Which is yeah, okay.
Like the standard now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what they're. Apparently, Microsoft. I don't know if they're just getting away from like the whole console idea and just focusing more on the Xbox as a brand, or like as an ecosystem, I guess, more than anything. But
I mean, it's pretty cool in that like it's more likely that someone like me who doesn't have an Xbox, or I guess what Tori's saying is like I might actually buy Xbox games now and just play them on my PC and like playing with my friends. Like, like if something like Halo is coming out and everyone's like, oh, I want to play Halo, it's like, okay, just buy a controller, buy the game. Like, it's more logical.
yeah,
So I guess like if you think about it, you may be able to like pull in a crowd, like a PC crowd, which is probably not going to buy the system anyways, to actually buy your games. So it's kind of smart. But I guess just the logistics are going to be a little tough. I mean, having people on bad PCs playing against people on Xboxes lagging around and stuff like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
and people with PCs are gonna destroy people with Xboxes and like FPSs and stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Some other announcements that came out of the Microsoft conference: Dead Rising 4 and Gears of War 4. Dead Rising 4 looks ridiculous. The trailer was very Christmas themed. There's like Christmas balls being shot around, exploding things, go-karts that are electrified. There's like some sort of zombie launcher thing, vehicle. It just seems ridiculous, but it seems like
Par for the course for that game.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much more detail we need to go into with it because I think it's basically just
It's
there'd
Dead
be a lot
Rising.
more. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Dead Rising. More of that. I think the same for Gears of War. Honestly, I mean, I don't think anybody plays that game for the story, do they?
I mean, well, I guess regarding Dead Rising 4, I guess one thing of note for Dead Rising fans would be, Frank is back. That's what I kept hearing, that he was really popular in the first one and really hadn't been in any of the others. So now they're happy that he's back.
Yeah, they touted that in the trailer by it was like Frank on social media, and he was like posting videos and hashtagging Frank is back, which is kind of funny. What about Gears of War? Anything? Any excitement there?
Oh, I mean, that was going to be the one IP that I was going to buy an Xbox for. Is I liked Gears of War on Xbox 360. Granted, I only played the first one. Didn't get to play the second one or the third one or Judgment. But from what I hear, Judgment is pretty crap, anyways, and you're not going to miss anything if you pass it up. But I'll probably pick up Gears 4 eventually on PC. Just to give me another. I'd be really happy if they put the previous. I know they finally released the Ultimate Edition on PC, but I'd like it if they released at least 2 and 3 on PC as well. But like you said, it's just Gears,
Yep.
I mean, I
think I played the original one too, but
from what I've heard about the game, they've sort of hinted or suggested that the game is going to be more like a survival horror-ish this one instead of the way it used to be, where it's just sort of bro shooter-ish, I guess.
Yeah.
But I have not really seen anything from what I've watched of the game and what I saw yesterday that really suggests that it's survival horror. Maybe it just has a lot of survival horror segments. I don't know.
Maybe it's just
Yeah,
you get
the,
killed quicker or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, there was also it looked like the kid. It was like one of the characters was a father, and then it was his kid after he grew up, and everything's being destroyed from his like home and whatnot. So I don't know. It could be the storyline that they take with that, but
Oh yeah, I mean that one trailer they released. What was that? I guess a few weeks or even a couple months ago, maybe it was. That shows the kid in the beginning with the original protagonist from Gears of War. I guess it's his son, and then you're playing as the kid now in Gears 4.
Yep.
And yesterday in the conference, at the end of the video segment of it, he walks into the house as an adult, and the guy's still there. His dad is still there. He's
Oh,
just
really?
old. Yeah.
Weird.
All he said was "Welcome back" or "Welcome home, son" or something like that. So I don't know how much I should read it. Anybody should read into that like he's gonna be a playable character or something. But
I think that transitions perfectly into the Sony conference because probably the biggest announcement out of the Sony conference also had a somewhat beloved character or that's older and has a son and blah blah blah. God of War, which was it's I think it's God of War 4, but I don't know if it's titled just God of War. So because Kratos is old, he's got a son and it's his wife. I don't know if it's what's your take on it, Corey?
I mean, everybody's been assuming that the kid is his son, but and we're assuming it's Kratos. I mean, it looks exactly like him, so it probably is.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he never refers.
He's got a beard now, though.
He always just calls
like a
him
beard.
boy. Yeah, he always just calls him boy, and he never.
Yep.
And the boy never calls him dad. He just always says yes sir or sir, and Kratos always refers to his mom as, "Did your mother teach you to do this or teach you to do that?" You know, he never.
Right.
It's like he was never there when the kid was growing up. So.
And are you playing as the boy?
It kind of transitioned a little between both. Like, for most of the gameplay demo that they showed, you're playing as Kratos. But then there's one segment where you shoot an elk, and you're the boy shooting it with a bow.
Mm-hmm.
So it might transition between both. This game is definitely, I think it's almost like a reboot. It's a reboot gameplay-wise, because it's not the fixed camera anymore. It's basically right over the shoulder, close up behind, and there seems to be a lot more of a stronger narrative behind the story as well. A lot more emotion. Like, there was a lot more emotion in the trailer as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, from what I saw in the small gameplay trailer that they had, it looked like there were a lot more like skills that you could every time you did something, it was like archery plus 50 skill points or whatever, and like it kept building up.
It was more RPG like
what he was doing.
Yeah.
So it seemed like there were some RPG elements in it, but it didn't go into too much detail beyond just what was popping up on the screen. So
yeah, because like it said at the one point when he shot the elk with the bow, it said archery, increased by 50 or something like that. And then at one point at the beginning, when you're tracking the elk, it actually gives you tracking points. So
I don't know where they're going to go with that, or how it's going to affect the remaining game, but it looks good. I'm pretty excited for it. I didn't play the third God of War, but I played the first two, and I enjoyed them. So,
and obviously, if you've watched the trailer, you can tell it's not Greek mythology anymore. It's very Norse mythology, and also they kind of gave a suggestion almost that the game is kind of open world, possibly as well, not just your linear. Game.
Interesting.
Yeah, which would be cool. I would like that. Although as long as it's not like too open world. If it's open world in kind of like Darksiders or something like that, I would like that. But
well, I was gonna say it might just be sort of like what Uncharted 4 was, where it's still relatively linear, but it's got bigger open areas.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Let's see. Another really big surprise announcement at the Sony conference was, Kojima walked out on stage, and he was the one that had done Silent Hills before it got canceled, and he announced a new game, still with Norman Reedus, which was odd, but it's called Death Stranding, and Norman Reedus is like naked on a beach, and there's all these dead animals, and he has like oil in his hands, and there's a baby with like some sort of weird mechanical umbilical cord, so it explained very little. But I feel like I feel like I could get into it because it's just weird, and Norman Reedus is pretty awesome. So, so it's Kojima.
I mean, the teaser was supposedly running in real time and on PS4 and all this, and the game looked incredible. But
yeah, really good.
They say that a lot, so
yeah. I mean, we'll see what. We need a lot more details on this one, but at least we know that Kojima's. It's with his new studio after he left Konami. It was Konami, right? Yeah.
Right.
And Norman Reedus is still working with him, so it's it'll be something that we get more information on and decide later. But it just looks weird at this point.
Right.
The next big game, I guess, would be, well, Days Gone. It was a new IP that was announced. Which developer was it under Sony that was working on it?
That's Sony Bend Studios.
Sony Bend. Okay. When I first saw the trailer, I honestly thought it was going to be The Last of Us 2, because it looked like the same sort of world. It was kind of like a little post-apocalyptic, but it was like people living out in the woods and trying to get away from certain things, and then you finally see that they tell you it's Days Gone, and it's got this guy, the main character rides a motorcycle, and he has a gun and everything, and we don't know the complete backstory, but there's all these like weird zombie creature things that move really fast, and there's just like a ton of them, like a huge number of them.
Yeah, they were interviewing the developers about the game today in a stream, and they were saying they're not zombies; they're called freakers, I think is what it was, or something like that.
Okay.
And they're not dead, undead or whatever. Zombies are actually alive. It's like a mutation or something like that, I guess is the best way to explain it. That's why they're so fast and all that.
Yeah.
Like I was telling a friend of mine last night that the best description of when you look at this game, the way it was playing and the amount of zombies quotations, and it was like we were watching a World War Z movie / game. That's how many there were.
When they all were coming over the wall at that one point in World War Z, and there's just like a flood of them. Yeah, that is a good description.
Yeah.
It looks good. It's a new IP, so it looks very story based, but also combat and I'm guessing also some stealth in there too.
Yeah. They were saying that it's very strong narrative and focused on survival, not horror, but just survival. So I guess sort of Last of Us, but maybe more so survival. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, I'm excited for it. I want different games. I want different stuff to keep me busy. So. I'm gonna have to peace out pretty soon. It is 7:00 right now.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I guess
I might
talk about the
joining
next
us.
one. Next one is Resident Evil 7 Biohazard got announced.
Yes.
And from what it looks like to be it looks like either a reboot or just they're changing up the way the game's played. It's first person only, and on PlayStation you can play the whole game in PlayStation VR.
Sweet.
Yeah, which would be freaky as shit.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like, if it's anything like the original games, then it's gonna be terrifying. I would be ripping that thing off my face, like. Ah!
And for anybody that doesn't know, right now you can download a demo if you're a PS Plus user or member.
That's pretty sweet. Didn't know that.
Yeah, and
Fantastic.
And supposedly this doesn't take place during the actual game. This takes place before the game. So.
Dang. So it's like extra. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're not even gonna get to the best part, which is like all the Nintendo stuff, which wasn't actually all that much, I guess. Really.
There's only one thing, really.
Two things they showed Pokemon too. But
We can keep going for another minute or two, and then I might peace out, but you guys can continue and talk about the remaining Bethesda stuff and Nintendo stuff.
Oh god, all the Bethesda stuff too. Jeez. We can just do like a part 2.
Yeah, we can do that.
So
I say we just say everything that was announced, and then the next episode we'll just go into more detail on like what we think. Because I mean, Tim will probably have some opinions on it too, and Charles, I'm sure, has like a lot to say about Nintendo. So,
all right. So,
just quickly announce what it was, and then we'll just
Okay. And Tori, we'll have you back on next week so you can talk about stuff too, because it's going to be an extension, and we can we'll figure it out and we'll get that done. But all right, so Nintendo announced Zelda Breath of the Wild, and that is the game that everybody's been looking for. And
Actually
we also
showed a whole bunch finally too. Finally showed
like
a whole bunch of it.
30 minutes of gameplay and all kinds of stuff. So we are going to get in a little bit more detail next show. Other Bethesda stuff that was really big. Dishonored 2 was announced, which I thought looked fantastic. There's a lot of gameplay in that I'm actually really excited about, and that's another one that you can pre-order and get the original Dishonored remaster version for free. And the Skyrim remaster, which it's not Elder Scrolls 6, but I think people are still going to be pretty excited about it because they redid a lot of textures and a lot of everything in the remastered version. So, all right. Well, that very abruptly brings us to the end of this podcast. I apologize. I do have to go pick up my wife. So we'll get into a little bit more detail on. I think next week we should talk about our favorite things from E3, and talk in more detail about just exactly the direction certain studios are going, and what we're maybe just like who won and what we think for all that stuff. Sony won, but that's.
I mean, jot up my comments regarding the new Zelda game and some of the other games because I'm going to be going on vacation. I'm going to Topsail Beach, North Carolina on Thursday for a full week. So.
Okay. So will you be able to record anything down there?
I don't think I'll be able to record. I mean, I'll bring Jess's computer along just in case. But if not, I'll just jot up notes and stuff, and you guys can do it and just incorporate them into the discussion.
Okay, we'll figure something out.
All right, you can just record an audio file and then just send it to us on your phone or something. It's easy enough to do, and we can just input it into the podcast. All right, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Sorry for all the abruptness right now, but Tori will join us again next week, and we'll go into a little bit more detail. I feel like we flew through a lot of different things. There was a lot of different stuff announced. So thank you everybody for listening. Thank you. Yeah.
Everyone. God bless us, everyone.
He couldn't join us this week, but that's all right. He'll join us next week for the meat and potatoes of the discussion that we have. Yeah. So make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes. You can find us on SoundCloud and Stitcher, and on the Podbros Network at podbros.com. Thank you, John, for meeting with me in Detroit. That was really random that I was able to meet someone from halfway across country. And make sure you check out all of our stuff on lngamers.com, because we all of the writers, Tori, Corey, myself, and Megan all did some E3 coverage stuff. So check that out, and check out YouTube, because that's getting updated weekly. So thank you everybody again. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Tim, wherever you are on your motorcycle. Thank you, Tori, this week. And I'm Nick. This has been Late Night Gamers Podcast, episode number 121, and we'll see you next week.
Good night.
Later.
TPC.